Evening, everyone. Welcome back to Heather's Mixed Media Studio. And today I want to do a quick show of a full deck challenge that I did. A full deck challenge, you take a deck of playing cards, and there's usually a set of prompts, and you alter that set of playing cards to whatever the set of prompts are. Now, there is a prompt list. I'm not sure where I put my copy for the current ongoing full deck challenge over on Shanoukiart's channel. I did her previous year, 2025, which was full deck challenge 3. Now, I don't remember what all the prompts are, but I mostly just wanted to show you all the pieces that you come up with. Now, you might wonder why anybody would maybe go into doing something like a full deck challenge. For me, it was to focus on collage as an art form. Collage is not something that I've done a lot of, and I didn't really know a lot about going into the challenge. So it was a big opportunity to learn about collage on a small surface. Playing cards are typically 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And that's the same size as an artist trading card. So this was the first 13 cards that we did, and you can see that she starts the challenge out pretty simple. You just do red one day, orange the next day, yellow the next day. Those were the prompts. Now, the prompts get a little different as they go on. This one, I believe, was pink with black splatter. This was possibly neutral or brown. I don't remember what the prompt was on that day. This was black and white with a pop of color. And then after that, the prompts become very, very different. So that year, she started you out very simple. It was just do these, get used to having papers that are all the same color and working with that. And now we're going to add in all these different techniques. This one was holes and string. I don't remember what it was on this one. Funky colors, I think, and I decided to try the glow effect that's made it all over TikTok and YouTube and all that. So that's what the first 13 looked like. And I don't want to dwell on this overly long. I do just want to show you that you can do really interesting things with collage if it's an art form that you've not worked in before. So the next part of the deck would have been all of the diamonds. And so now I'm just trying to show them to you in order of how they got created, so that you can see that the collage prompts change over time, the different effects that you get change over time, how complicated something gets changes over time. Oh, goodness gracious. And I quickly run out of desk to show you this particular set because some of them were so large. Let's check. That one was specifically working with threads and zigzags. This one was wrapping stuff around the card. Yeah, I don't know. I don't always even remember what they were. This one became a shaker card. In fact, these two together were interesting. We were told to cut apart the card itself. So the parts of this card that are original are just the outer frame and the little diamonds that are in here. And that's it. All of the rest of it is a piece from a coloring book as the background and lots of washi tape to hold the thing together. And then I just thought it was a really neat kind of thing. But that left the remains of card 9, where I cut out all these diamond shapes, available for me to use as a collage piece on card number 10. So it's the full body of card number 10, but I put the card 9 guts on here. So if you look, it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 holes. It's not a 10 of diamonds anymore. It's a 9 of diamonds. And you can see the back of the card. That's what the back of these cards look like. So this is what was left of card 9 now in a frame that says it's the 10 of diamonds. So I love how wildly inaccurate this one is because of the pieces that were left over from this one, which is a shaker pouch now. So we got to do some fun things like that, just playing around. This one, this one was another one of my favorite ones. You were supposed to make a paper doll. I can no longer get this off. So this is the whole paper doll set here, and that's all of her extra bits. And since I decided I wasn't really into the paper doll thing, my paper doll has one doll head. If I can get her to move. Come on. Oh, I see you're hung up on the dog. A second doll head, so you can replace her entire head. Or she can be a dog. Or she can be a dragon. I've decided that that's how this works. And you can see it's the 7 of diamonds here. And instead of having piles of clothes like a normal doll would have, this one has piles of board games. And so whether you want to be a dragon with a board game hoard, or a dog who loves to play board games, or a little girl and her friend who want to play board games, that's all fine. And then all the extra accoutrements are here in this little pouch. And let's see, there's a couple more extra board games. There's a dog in there. So yeah, I had way too much fun with this. This is way more elaborate than anything anybody in the full deck challenge would actually have expected. I just went completely overboard on this particular one, and it still makes me laugh to this day. So I'm going to keep it because I think it's hilarious. All right, but let me put this back on the doll before I lose track of where the extra bits went. There. Because they are all a part of this. So if someone really wanted to play dolls, you know, you could have board games and dragons or dogs or dolls or whatever you want. That's one playing card. I might have gone a little crazy on that one. I liked how this one came out kind of Native American. It's got a couple of cactuses there, a tortoise. It's got a very Arizona sort of vibe to it. This one was supposed to be Stack It Up, I think. And I didn't find this one to be very successful. I'm going to set this one off to the side because I want to compare this with you with the one where the prompt was chaos. Because my chaos looks like Stack It Up and my Stack It Up looks like chaos. I'll show you those in a minute. So let me put these ones away so we can pull out the next set. And there is actually a reason why I'm showing you all of these today. I am leading up to something, I promise. Give me just a moment to put this stack away. Now, one of the other things I did on this stack that did not help my own cause, but I love it, was this one here. And one of the things we were encouraged to do on this card was use staples. And I had never used staples as a decorative element before, so that was interesting. But I decided I was going to add a Mobius strip to this card. A Mobius strip, you take a piece of paper and you make it one never-ending loop. And I like that I included it on it, but it now means the whole thing doesn't lay flat because that Mobius strip doesn't flatten out. So that was the next stack we did. And then we moved back to clubs. So let's take a look at how clubs came out. And again, a lot of these I don't remember what the prompts were. I know this one had black splatter on it. And again, I've also learned that I am not a fan of splatter as an effect. It ends up all over my desk, and I just don't have the patience for it. I made this card when my cat Callie passed away, so that's in remembrance of her. The next one was use a photo and turn it into something. Well, this is a photo of my son. He was 20 years ago. I mean, he's a lot older than that now. This one was doodling by freehand, so I've got a Ginsfort Woozlefilm on there. You'll see those a lot. This turned out to be one of my favorite ones. I love how this creates this whole scene where there's either a sunrise or a rainbow, whatever you want to call that. We've got birds flying in front of it. There's some grasslands here and a bike laying on its side. It tells a story. What the story is, I'm not entirely sure. but I like that it's a vignette you could walk into anywhere. And so if I'm going to do a lot of collage going forward, I want it to have that vignette kind of feel. I want it to be a scene that you could realistically walk into. Of all the collages I did, that was the thing that I took away from it the most, is that this is what I want my art to be. I used that same half circle, the rest of it, to make this card with the owl. I also like this one quite a lot. I think it's because I liked how that circle came out. Now this card, was this the 7? Good question. Yeah, this must have been the 7 at one. Yes, it was. So this was the 7 of clubs, and we were told to put song lyrics down. And this song lyric is Unstoppable by Sia. And a line in it is, I win every single game, and I play a lot of games. So this is a winning hand in a game of poker. A pretty high, maybe not the highest, because I don't think clubs is the highest suit. But a straight flush is pretty hard to beat. So anyway, that's how that one came about. And let's see, anything else super fun out of here? I made happy scraps for this one, I believe. Happy scraps, if you've never made them before, you take long strips of paper, throw them into a bucket, flick lots of different colors of paint at it, give it a big shake up, and you get these really pretty patterned pieces. There's one in here I had pulled out a minute ago, and now I can't find it. Now, I'm not positive. The strips I'm working with over here were by another artist, Renee, and I can't promise you that Happy Scraps is how she made this, but this is approximately what a happy scrap will come out looking like. So I have several that are very similar in tone to this, and you can even see this back corner here is a happy scrap. This edge down here is a happy scrap. We used a very similar color palette. Now, I can't promise you that's how this one was made, because I didn't make this one. But it has that look. It's very much that kind of vibe. So those all happened, and I turned some of my happy scraps into these flowers. So there was a whole floral motif on that one. Coffee, tea. I think the theme was coffee on this one. You were supposed to coffee dye your papers. Mine's mostly tea, because that's how I do things. This was stack it up. Right. I told you I would talk about the difference between chaos and stack it up. This was supposed to be stack it up, but it mostly reads chaos to me. There's a leaf, there's something about chocolate, there's some ice cream, there's a ship, there's a movie marquee, there's a dragonfly. It doesn't really have a whole cohesiveness to it, in my opinion. We were also later in the challenge supposed to do one called Chaos. Now, this is a riot of leaves. You could call this chaotic, but it could also be stacked up autumn, where you have just stacks and stacks and stacks of leaves, and then you've got a rain boot and an umbrella. So as Stack It Up goes, I think this one was really successful. However, the prompt for this particular day was actually chaos. The stack for this day was Stack It Up, but I think what I achieved was actually chaos. So it was a learning curve on both parts. And then for the next day, I did stars in outer space, and I've learned how to make these little paper stars, again, using some of the happy scraps. I still have a ton of these scraps left. And I like that they hang off the card and they kind of, can jiggle around. So that one made me really happy. I didn't consider every single card that I made in this process successful, but I did learn something from the process of doing all of them. In fact, one of the things I learned, you'll notice Ace, King, Queen, Jack, 10. Those were all pulled off of this king, this queen. So when you fold them over, there's a piece of the queen missing, there's a piece of the king missing. And so I had to go back in and add those bits back onto these cards to make a whole card, because I had snipped each one off the corner to be able to make that array on this one. So, certain liberties were taken throughout this whole challenge. And I had a really great time. So if you're in a place where you want to learn more about a type of painting or a technique like collage, finding a challenge that's going to encompass all of those techniques can be a really good way in a, not large. You want to do it with like ATCs or altered playing cards, anything like that. It'll give you a chance to learn the technique that you're wanting to learn, but in a much smaller space. So that's what this full deck challenge was for me. Now I do want to show you the last suit of the challenge, which was the hearts here. And again, just nothing particularly fabulous I wouldn't try to market these as art necessarily, although I think you can learn art as a technique and then maybe market it. But it was a great learning curve. And I really appreciated it for that. I appreciate that Shanoukiart hosts it. There's a beautiful community of people over there all doing altered playing cards. So it's a fabulous community if you want support, if you want people to ooh and ah at your artwork. I loved how this little fennec fox dragonfly hybrid came out. I don't remember what the prompt was, but I think it had to do with putting wings on. Maybe the prompt was fairy, and I decided that I needed an animal with wings as my fairy. This was more of those happy scraps. We were supposed to put lace on this, and I didn't have any, so I made my own paper lace out of some of my happy scraps. That worked out pretty good. This was wacky houses or something to that effect. And I think that's most of the techniques I want to highlight here. So I'm going to pull this set up. That's the end of show and tell. But I also want to tell you about, okay, that's the show part. Now comes the tell part. I want to tell you about a project that I'm going to start and kind of why I'm going to start it and what it was based on. And to do that, I needed to find this specific card out of this deck. Oh, my glue is not holding, so I'll have to fix that. Again, I don't remember what the prompt was on this particular day, but I loved doing this. There is an artist over on there's an artist with his own channel. He is a designer in the PM Artist Studios stable of designers. The artist's name is Carrie Griffiths, also known as Carrie the Crafter. He has his own YouTube site. And he is often over on PM Artist Studio and Makers of Mixed Media. He released this stamp right around Halloween, Christmas, somewhere in there. It might have been Halloween. And I did ultimately end up buying them because I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic idea because I could think of so many different ways that I could use these stamps. I will try to find the video where he uses them and talks about them, where he released them, and different ways you can alter them to have different effects. So I will just link to that video because I want you guys to hear it from him. And all credit due to him for designing these. Now, as you can see, these stamps are pristine. They have not been used yet because I want to make sure that if I'm going to use them with acrylic paints, that I have my studio set up with the container of water. These stamps are made out of foam, and from what I understand, if you use them with acrylic paints, you want to set them in water pretty much immediately afterwards so that you can get all of the paint off. Otherwise, you'll get an acrylic seal over the whole stamp, and you won't be able to use them with inks. Now, if you use them exclusively with inks, they'll work with acrylics. But if you use them with acrylics and intend to use them with inks later, you have to make sure you get all the acrylic off. And Carrie will talk a lot about that in his video too, to explain how you use them, how you press them down properly to make sure that they do a good, clean image. I've not used them yet, and I plan to. The day that he did that release video, or within that week, I decided I wanted to use the stamp that I hadn't bought yet. And so I hand drew this window, and it's completely based on this design, and you can even see where there's echoes of that in here. This clearly has sizing problems and all manner of things. But I wanted this stamp so much that I just went out and drew one by hand. So the project I have coming up is going to use the actual stamps now that I have them. But I want to turn this card into a series, probably 4. I'm thinking right now, probably 4. It'll depend on what all I find. What I really liked about this particular card is that you've got an indoor vignette looking out on an outdoor scene. Now, in this case, it's a nighttime scene of a deer. There's a deer there, there's a couple of pine tree images here, and there's night sky. And then construction-wise, there's clear acetate over that acting as a window. I like that when you move it, it looks like there's glass in front of the deer. So I will use these stamps to make the window, and then I want to make the whole outdoor scene at approximately this size. So the outdoor scene is going to be roughly ATC sized. I think what I'm going to do is use from this line up, because I love the arched window. I like how that looks. My other option would be to put it here and cut off the top pointed bit and just use a square window. But to me, that square window looks entirely too much like most windows most of us have in our house, where these look more estate-like. They have that sense of wealth and prosperity, or cabin in the woods, or I rented a castle, or somewhere. Okay, maybe if you live in Europe or somewhere not America, you have homes that actually have windows like this. Here in the States, it's all pretty much just square windows like that. And often with, there will be a split here. You can raise the lower half up. These will generally be, if it's an apartment building like mine, this one will be structural. These will just be taped on. It's really cheesy. So I want these to have that more Gothic kind of vibe. And wood. I want them to be wood and not the white plastic ones I've suffered through in apartment buildings. So yeah, that is kind of the plan, is to make ATC sized windows like that when you look through the window, you're going to see a wilderness scene outside the window. Now, that scene might be at night, might be in the daytime, could be spring, could be winter. I haven't made any of those decisions yet. So let's pull out some of what I do have already pulled together. Well, kind of pulled together. Oh, hey. There's those happy scraps I told you I still had a ton of. Helps if I look far enough back in the drawer. I have a ton of them. But the other thing I've done, and this is actually what I came digging in here for, I have gone through a couple of different DK encyclopedias. DK is it's a specific type of encyclopedia that I see here in the States all the time. I went through and cut out most of the animals and insects and birds that were in those. And this is just from days and days of cutting things. I also pulled some of the flowers out. And so I have these realistic looking animals available to me to use. And I know there's many more than this. I just don't know where they are at the moment. Like this one here is a caracal. It's a type of cat. We've got an owl. This is probably an iguana of some kind. So I've got all these different animals that I can work with and create outdoor scenes with. I even got a dog and an armadillo. So I have to decide which animals I want to use for this particular product or project. And because they're going to be card sized, they have to fit on the card. If I do it with the dog, it'll have to be a square window because it'll be sideways. And I don't like the look of that. So I'm probably not going to do the dog because he won't fit in the frame. But I could potentially use a caracal here. I mean, that would fit. He could be behind a window. There could be a whole desert scene out there. So I have to go through all of my animals and figure out what animals are going to work as a scene. This deer came from one of these magazines. So I also need to then find enough acetate or acquire, although I think I have, I just need to find it in the drawer, so that I can cover the windows. I still need to make each of the windows. And then once I have that, and I have them at approximately this size, you know, I'll have to trim it and all that fun stuff. Then I want to put it onto, one moment. I have this mixed media paper here, and I have a bunch of it. And so I think this is going to be a good sized window to put, I'll get that out of there. You know, there's the reference. And from there, you know, I can put it anywhere. I could put it in the middle, I could put it in the left, put it in the right, I could put it down low, but that would be weird. That's not how houses are built typically. But then I want to create, so the outdoor scene is going to be there. And then I want to create the indoor scene. Now with this particular one, I had a coloring book that had an overhead lamp and a chair and a rug, all oriented in a way that I could make it look like someone had been sitting there looking out the window at the deer. The scenes on this one might not be that straightforward. I might face the furniture away from the window and give the appearance like this secret thing that you're missing is happening back here. Or I might center it like this and have ranks of furniture, you know, like students watching something out the window and a professor here gesturing. I don't know what these indoor scenes are going to look like, and I won't know until I create them. But that's kind of the gist of the project. Probably I will marry this with this in some way. But the point of it all, why am I doing this? I took part in a Scrappy swap recently. And the Scrappy swaps came from Renee, whose last name has escaped me, but I will find it. When I film any of the actual working of this, Wells, pretty sure her last name's Wells. I think I'll have to look around for the envelope. And if not, I've got her name in the chat. It's fine. But she sent all these wonderful scraps to me. And so I now get to use, potentially the blue ones might become outdoor, might become part of the outdoor backgrounds. I might do that. If I do any purple flowers, this could all be that. I could definitely see using this as like the wall that the window is on. That would be pretty easy. This could be furniture fabric. I could make couches or chairs or whatever and use this as the fabric for it. Not sure what I'm going to do. Some of these things I don't quite yet have a plan. Like this I love, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Might become part of this project, might not. That one is wild. I love it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. This one is almost certainly going to become like a couch fabric. It has that, it also feels kind of fabric. It's clearly a handmade paper. And it's beautiful. Could I rug that? It could become a rug. I'm not sure. Very textural, though. Fantastic. This has that opulent wallpaper look to it. So that I'll have to think about whether I want to do that. And if I do I want to do black frame on the window? So that's a thing. Some of these, and I'm pulling, they're upside down in my hand, which is part of the problem. Again, this could become a striped wainscoted even kind of, I'm thinking if I did a neutral color down here and then did stripes of this in the background. That could work as wall structure as well. So a lot of this is, what am I going to do with these? This has a nice wallpaper feel to it. It could become a wall inside. These, however, are also the right size to become backgrounds for ATCs, artist trading cards, because they're, like I said, they're the same size. So I might not put these in this particular project, although I love that. Could be an outdoor scene. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. These may become backgrounds for future ATCs as well. This one's so close in size. But I may also need a sun in one of these, and this would be good sun material. So for this project, I think that's what I'm going to do with the scraps that I was sent by Renee. So in part, thank you, Renee, for the lovely scraps. I appreciate that. And you'll get to watch me make whatever I make, because I will make sure I film all of this. And this gives you guys a hint of a thing that will be coming up on this channel. There's always something coming up. I've always got some project at hand. And as I dive more deeply into this one, I'll bring you guys along with me so that you can see how it all goes and how it all turns out. So that's it for show and tell today. Thank you guys so much for being part of the channel. Welcome subscribers number 6 and 7. Appreciate you being here. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.